Hi and welcome everyone. I am Friar Tuck and this is my epoch. Today I'm going to be answering a question of why would you want to migrate. So if you watch my Thursday video, this is something that I talk about, and I'm going to kind of cover each one of the things that I said in a deeper topic because it was suggested by another individual that I've been getting some content advice from, and I'm going to go ahead and follow through on that. And one more thing before I get into the topic of the video is that I have updated my about section to kind of describe what this channel is about, because I've been trying to put it in a video format and it really hasn't worked for me. Sometimes I'm a better writer than a speaker. So today we're going to be talking about why would you want to migrate. So your SHTF has come to your doorstep. You have gotten to a point to where you can't afford the increased rent, or you've lost your job, either because it got automated or because of mass layoffs or whatever it may be. Now you're in a situation and you're like, crap, I'm homeless, okay? Or I'm on the verge of being homeless. If one or two more things go wrong, I could definitely be in a bad spot and it's not going to be good for you, okay? And so the average person, what they end up doing is because it's comfort. It's what you know. And you're going to generally stick around a place where you're like, okay, I know this area, so I'm going to stay here. And, that may have worked 10 or 15 years ago, but with the way that the world is falling apart now, the way that the economy is morphing and changing, that may not necessarily be the right thing for you, for various reasons. And, that's a question that you're going to have to ask yourself. But I want to talk about migration and why you'd want to migrate, or how you actually migrate, because the average person may sit there and go, well, I know this area and I hear that this area and that area is bad. A lot of what happens is because I've traveled from Florida, now I'm all the way up into Cincinnati, Ohio. And one of the things that I have learned and I've always known is that the reason why people say things are bad because they see reports on the news is because some people just don't know how to keep their nose in their own business, don't know how to do their own thing. For example, when I'm in an area, I don't really talk to a lot of people. I may make friends along the way, but I sit back, I observe, and I watch and see how things are going before I decide to communicate with somebody. It's very rare that I just walk up to somebody and be like, hey, how you going? My name's Tuck, what's yours? Okay, and so if you don't want to have issues, or if you don't want to be part of those issues that you hear about, and it is what it is. I'm just going to put it that way. All right, is you keep your nose clean. You don't get involved in the stupid stuff. A lot of the reason why you have these issues is because it happens to be around drugs, or it has to be around the fact that you screwed somebody over, or you don't know how to keep your nose in your own business, or you get caught up in something that you shouldn't have for whatever reason it may be. And you in your negligence don't realize what it is that you're getting into, because most people know what they're getting into and they know how to navigate it if you've been out here long enough, or if you have traveled in the way that I have, okay? So when somebody says, oh, that area is bad, oh, look at all those reports on the news, a lot of it has to do with your conduct, your demeanor, and who you are as a person, how you handle yourself. Me, I don't have those issues. I've gone through Skid Row, and I've gone through some of the worst parts of the country, even since shutdowns. Okay, because Denver is the new Skid Row. So how are you going to find a place? What are some things that you can do to find a place that's going to work for you? Well, the economy is ever changing. So just because you move to one area does not mean that area is just going to have a booming economy for the next 20, 30 years until you retire. It's not necessarily what's going to happen. It might be a temporary boom, and then it might be a bust. It has a lot to do with management from the city or the state politicians, or it just might be that something happens where the political winds change. And so you should never count on an area to be viable the whole time, which is why you need to consider migrating. Now, the first thing that I always do when I look about an area that I want to go into is I check out the homeless system, because you're going to want to travel as cheaply and efficiently as you possibly can. Yeah, you could pay for a hotel, or yeah, you could save up some money. But when you're brought into that point where you have to migrate and you're being forced to migrate due to economics or climate or whatever it may be, you may not have that time to prepare like you thought you had. You thought you might be able to see it on the horizon. Next thing you know, the whole town's devastated by a tornado, and businesses ain't going to open up for a couple of years because the town has to rebuild, right? So when I look at a place, one of the things that I always do, again, is I look at the shelter system. People leave reviews. Don't always believe the reviews. Some of the reviews are paid. Some of the reviews are by disgruntled people. It's just like looking at a company's reviews. If you look at their reviews and you can pretty much tell which ones are authentic and which ones aren't. Or maybe it's just because I own the business and I know what the average person leaves in a review that's an authentic review. Okay, you're gonna want to hear personal situations, or something that's not like, oh, these people suck, I'll never come here again. That's just somebody that's just upset, and they didn't even give any reason why. Now, part of the reason why I chose Cincinnati is because I looked at the review. So there is this there is this shelter that I've been trying to get into because it has the right programs for me. Now, reading the reviews, you'll learn a little bit about the programs, but you can also call ahead and be like, hey, I want to know, what kind of services do you offer? And while you're talking to them, another thing that you might want to ask is, what about food lines? If I need to eat, where can I go? You may not be able to get food stamps right away, because food stamps, the way they do it now versus the way they used to do it, the way they used to do it was you walked into the food stamp office, you did your application and interview that day, and they gave you your food stamp card that day. Now, it's such a long, drawn-out process. It could take 2 weeks all the way up to a full month before you get your food stamps. So you need to make sure that you have the ability to eat. And so you might want to ask them about food lines. Are there places where I can go grab food? Okay, that's one thing to consider. Another thing that you want to start looking at is, what is the economy made up of? Because you have a specific skill set. Maybe you're in hospitality. Maybe you are in manufacturing. Maybe you are in IT. And so depending upon what the main industries are in that area will tell you whether or not you're going to have the opportunities that you need. Another thing that you're going to want to look at is you're going to want to look at the cost of living. Okay, the cost of living is important. What are the wages? Okay, so here the wages, the average median wage is about $50,000. But let's say your rent's like $1,200 a month for a one bedroom. Well, the cost of living's too high for you there. You want to look for something that, if you're making $50,000, you want to look for something for a one bedroom that's about $1,000 or below. There are places where you can find that, where the economy will support the migrants or people coming in who are looking for work. Okay, you also want to go through places like Indeed and Monster and stuff like that and see what kind of jobs they have out there. You might even want to make a few applications before you even move, just to see what kind of response you get, because there are a lot of companies out there that are putting up that they're looking for people, but they're not really looking for people. They're just putting it up there, hoping to find that gem, that perfect person that is overqualified and willing to be underpaid. Okay, so these are some basic things that you as an individual should consider when you are when you're migrating, because when you migrate, you want to be able to you want to make sure that you're moving into a better situation, not a worse situation. Now, there might be some other things to consider for those of you that have migrated or are considering migrating. Tell me about the different things that you've researched to help you make a decision on where to move. Some people because of the way that they are. They might be looking at the racial makeup. They might be looking at religious makeup, because, you know, if you're non-religious like me, you know, you want to move to an area where Christianity doesn't have such a heavy hold that in order to be able to get your basics taken care of, you've got to submit to the church. Okay, so these are some things, but I want to know what you guys do to research about migration, or if you've even thought about migrating, and if you have, what would be your reasons for migrating? Okay, so if you want to help the channel, I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers, so become a subscriber, hit that bell notification. Anything else you want to do to help the channel, it's down in the description. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.